Hi BookTube. So it's Tuesday and that means Tag Tuesday, and it's been a while since I've done a tag. So when I saw this one, it looked right up my alley because it's not a tag where you are picking specific books off your shelf. It's more of like, the personal side of things, or, BookTube related and how you think about books or how you think about creating videos. So it seemed like an ideal kind of tag, and this is the the BookTube behind the scenes tag, and it was created by Robert G, reader of books, a new to me channel, but I was just looking around for an interesting tag to do, and this one came up, and I wasn't tagged in it. Speaking of that, I just found out about the mentions, what do you call it? The mentions notifications on BookTube or YouTube fairly recently, and I keep forgetting to check that. So if anyone does tag me, and I don't know if there's a time limit on those mentions, but I need to make a note to check that, because it's annoying how I can see the notifications of comments or likes and all of that, but to do the mentions, you have to click on it, physically click on it, instead of like, I can't figure out a way of settings to get those mentions to be put on the notifications. But anyway, the first question is, when recording a post, do you read from a prepared script, or do you refer to notes or a broad outline, or do you speak extemporaneously? For sure, for me, it's extemporaneously. I know the meaning of the word and I've read it, but it's, I feel like other readers, like if you read a word, you don't always know how to pronounce it, or it's like, doesn't roll off the tongue easily. Although in my mind, it's all smooth sailing. Anyway, yes, for sure, it's off the cuff. There are times when, like years and years ago, I've only done a couple of book reviews, and for those, I do take some notes on different things I want to speak to, but it's not full sentences, and it's not really an outline either. It's just a couple of words that will jog my memory that I wanted to cover, but 99.9% of the time I'm just talking off the cuff, even though there are times when I am like doing like a monthly wrap-up and I read a book 3 weeks ago. I'm like, oh, I wish I had like a sticky note or something on this book, so so that way I would remember, like, especially character names. I never remember them, just because I'm reading so many different books with so many different character names that it all just blurs together. But yeah, there are times when I wish I took notes, but I don't want the pressure, especially if like reading off a script. I could never do that. I know myself. I would be so stiff, and so it would just be too obvious. I know there's some people that do read off scripts and it looks natural, and it's not. I don't know. I know it would not work for me, and I've never tried it. I've never been interested in that. And if I had to do that, where I put so much, not that I don't put so much thought in my videos, but have so much work leading up to a video, I would post maybe 5 videos a year, and I'm not posting as much as I would like to now. So if I had to do something like that, it would just put me off from it. Let's see, question number 2. Do you edit before you post, deleting hems and haws, misspeaks, mispronunciations, and other common public foibles? And no. So do you edit before you post? Yeah, no, I don't. The only thing I edit is if I'm doing a vlog where I'm putting, the different clips together. And the only thing I can think of other than that is if Fable comes over to me and starts, barking out the window or something like that. Or there's been a few times where she's knocked over the camera. That's the only time where I've edited anything. But yeah, I don't do any edits of like the hems and haws. I think it's very obvious if you watch my videos. I don't take out those ums and ahs, because it's more of like your natural way of speaking. Yeah. So yeah, no. Do you remove things you didn't mean to say, or off-topic thoughts or comments you think might be misunderstood? No. And I appreciate when people don't take those out, because again, it's like a natural way of speaking, and it's a way of finding out about that person. If they go off on a tangent on something that they have a strong opinion about, or something that happened in their day, I really like those. And so for my videos, if I have something like that in there, I want to keep that in there, just because from my perspective, I like seeing those things. It doesn't always have to be 100% book related. And I know this question doesn't have to be that. It could be it's something you didn't mean to say about a book. I feel like a book review is all fair game, whether you liked it or hated it, or had an obscure opinion about it, or obscure perspective. All of that's completely valid. Number 3, have you ever edited a post after posting? No, no, I haven't. And I can only thinking about that, I feel like the only reason a person would, I can't speak to other people, I've never done it, but I could think about like maybe they would do that because of like review or comments, you know, they're getting where it's very negative, where they want to fix that so they don't continue getting negative comments. I don't know, but I have zero experience with that. And have you ever deleted an entire post? No, I haven't. Let's see, number 4, are there certain topics you avoid, things you regard as too personal or too controversial? I feel like the general, you know, polite niceties, like if you meet someone off the street, you don't really want to bring up like politics or religion. So I steer clear from those topics for the most part, you know, if not entirely. If I meet you on the street, or if I, you know, talk to your own BookTube, either way, I don't bring up those like hot button kind of issues. And you know, I even as me as like a listening ear, you don't necessarily want to hear about those things either. I feel like we get enough of that in like the deluge of, you know, with the news. So you get enough of that if you want to seek those things out, you know, or whether you want to hear about it or not, you're going to hear about it. So I don't want to be one of those. It's not that I don't think people who do those, who do bring those topics into their videos, I don't mind it to a certain degree. You know, if it's like all the time, and you know, the channel becomes, you know, all political or all religion, that can be a bit off-putting. But you know, because that's not why I sought that channel out. But I don't mind it sprinkled in here and there. Completely don't mind it. You know, whether you're heavily religious or not, or you know, right wing versus left wing, I can take and listen to any of it. But yeah, just in smaller amounts, I guess. Let's see. Where are we at? Number 5, do your posts include graphics, special lighting, music, fast cuts, or other design enhancements? No. And I wish it was easy to do. My workaround for that is when I'm talking about ebooks, I always try and get a picture, and I just have it on my tablet where I can show you that way, because I don't edit my videos outside of, the only thing I know how to do is put the clips together. And I only fairly recently learned how to do that, because before that my boyfriend would do it for me, because I don't know it, so he showed me how to do it. It's very easy. And so I'm like, okay, I just literally open up the program and select the videos, like 1, 2, 3, like whatever order I want them in, and that's it. And then I just like push a button that they get like smushed together into a video, and like there you go. So the editing I do is not really considered editing, I don't think. But yeah, so I don't know how to do the graphics, and I feel like, again, it would just add work. Same as like the scripting and things like that. It would just add more time involved in making a video, and I just want these to be, you know, more natural and easy for me to do and easy to watch. So if it was easy, I don't even know if I would do that. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter. Never mind. It would be okay, because, you know, right now when I am showing you the ebook covers, I still have to like Google them, you know, and save them in my photos to then, you know, swipe through. So it wouldn't take much more work to get them to like put them in the right time slots. So I take that back. I probably would do that if it was easy. I don't think it's easy. And the special lighting and music annoys me. If I see, I mean, it's okay, again, in small doses, if it's not throughout the whole video, and it's like in one of those like vlogs where, what is it called, like the B-roll, where you're just like watching them, you know, walk around or cook or do something, and there's like some music in the background, that I don't mind. But when there's music in between people, or in the background people talking, I don't care for that at all. Number 6, do you have a target number of posts each week? I would like to do like 2 videos a week. I don't always succeed. There's spells, you know, like this week where I'm posting, you know, hopefully 3 or 4 or 5 videos, depending on what's going on. And then there's other times where I post nothing for a couple of weeks. So I would like to be more consistent with doing at least 2 videos a week. I think that is a manageable number. But you know, life, you know, there's things that, you know, come and go, and yeah, I just want to be present on BookTube to a certain extent. Let's see. Number 7, are there certain themed posts you contribute to regularly, such as Poetry Thursday or What Are You Reading Wednesday? I've never heard of What Are You Reading Wednesday. I haven't heard of that, but I occasionally do the Tag Tuesdays, and I do like the monthly wrap-ups and the monthly TBRs, and I do the Friday reads where I try and talk about the books I'm planning to read in that coming week. Other than that, I think Poetry Thursday sounds intriguing, and I do try and read some poetry collections here and there, but I don't feel like I'm versed enough in the poetry world to speak to any poems. I mean, it would push me to do that for sure and take notes and all of that. But I'm more of a consumer of poetry than I am a critic. But I do like watching, you know, Poetry Thursdays or poetry videos, because I you know, it's all about me, you know, learning and expanding, you know, my, not just the analysis of a poem, but also learning about other poets that I'm not aware of or that I've only heard of. So I do like the idea. Number 8, how important to you is the number of your subscribers? And it's funny, like each of these questions there's a bunch of questions within each one. So I'll answer that first part. How important is it to me? Not much at all. I try not to look at it actually, because I don't want, same as my reading, I don't want my reading or me watching or posting videos to be dictated or be manipulated in a way by, you know, controlled by the numbers. I don't want to be controlled by the numbers, basically. And so, like, I set for my books, I set a goal, but I don't hate it if I don't hit that number or if I go way past it. I only look, I think I mentioned before, I only look at that number when I'm doing a monthly wrap-up, because I think it's like a tangible thing that I can speak to when I talk about how my month went. But if I wasn't on BookTube, I wouldn't look at that number. I wouldn't have counted it up. I probably wouldn't even have a Goodreads account. In fact, I know I wouldn't, because when I found BookTube way back in 2014, I think it was 2014, 2015, I can never exactly remember, but I had a Goodreads account, but I only logged a couple of books here and there before I made a dedicated system of keeping track of the books. So yeah, I know I probably wouldn't keep track of anything, but it is handy to do, because and if I'm in a bookstore and I want to know, do I own that book or have I read it? It's nice to like pull up the app, because I don't always remember. Most of the time I do if it's like a nonfiction book, but for like mysteries or things in series, I can't exactly remember which books I own and things like that. So it is handy. But yeah, speaking of, what was it? One of the questions was, do I go off topic? Yeah. I don't edit that out, because the question was, is it important to me for the number of subscribers? Somehow I went from that to this, but yeah, let's see. Is there a target number you're hoping to reach? Not exactly. I mean, it would be nice to hit like the round number of 1,000, but I'm just happy for any of you that show up and comment. Really, my focus is, or my enjoyment isn't derived from the number of subscribers, but the interaction with you in the comments. I really like that. I really appreciate anyone that comments on my videos. And so that's really what I'm focused on. If you don't hit your target, would you consider dropping out of BookTube? No, because again, if I was focused and driven by the numbers, I probably would have stopped making videos, month 2? I don't know, being on BookTube, if I wasn't seeing traction or something. Yeah, no, so no, I would not stop making videos. Are your posts designed to attract new subscribers? No, I am not one to do like the marketing and things like that, or see what's trending. I am very much an untrendy person because like, and what I'm reading and all that, like none of that is dominated or at all influenced by TikTok or something like that. Let's see. Are you distressed if you lose subscribers? No, I feel like, you know, people come and go, or, you know, if I don't speak to their interests, like I'm not going to be personally offended by that. Let's see, number 9, do you always respond when tagged? Well, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I just fairly recently, just a couple of months ago, noticed or realized this mentions things is on there. My question, has it always been on there? And I just never knew. But yeah, I just now found it out. And so I'm sure I was tagged, you know, over the years, and I didn't know. So I try to, nowadays, I try and make a note to myself, because I've noticed the mention things disappears after a bit. I don't know what the timing on that is, but I try and like write down, okay, I need to do this tag. I was tagged in it, because otherwise I'll forget. So yeah, I do try. Number 10, do you respond to reviewers' comments? Yes, I try to always respond. If anything, at least heart it, but I always try and at least have some kind of acknowledgement there. Are your responses lengthy or only a thumbs up or down? I comment using my phone. So I know some people like you have really long comments. And so I try and keep it like reasonable, considering I'm like typing with my thumbs. I'm not like typing on my laptop. In fact, I have a laptop, but I don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I don't have to, absolutely have to, because I work on a computer. And so after logging in those 8 hours, I really don't pick up my laptop if I don't have to. So I'm just using my phone to respond. And so I try and give, like, if they're giving me a long, you know, response, I try and give at least a paragraph. But yeah, otherwise I'll do the heart, or, you know, some kind of like smiley face or something, or, you know, just a thank you, something like that. Number 11, have you ever blocked anyone from viewing or commenting on your posts? The only time I have blocked anyone is only been a handful of times over the years where you get these random spam or bot comments, and I've only had like one or two. I only can think of like one like really negative comment, or like, yeah, you're not welcome here kind of thing, because you're just completely, you know, like ranting and, you know, harassing me kind of thing. Like that's the only time I can think of, like 1 or 2 times where that's happened. Other than that, it's been like the spamming or the bots, where yeah, I will just block those and move on with my day. Luckily I don't see that frequently at all, so it's nice, where I'm just talking to, you know, to real genuine people. And then number 12 is tag some BookTube friends. And I don't know how, you know, how long this tag has been up, or how it's made its rounds. So I'm just gonna say, if anyone is a fellow booktuber that wants to you know, has thoughts on these, then, you know, feel free to do this tag. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.